James Simon, Matt. And this guy will be committing this week, later in the week, so he'll be fresh when we release this video. But tell us more about James Simon.
Yeah, so he is the RB9 currently, the 167th overall player in the class. Approximately 5'11", 200 pounds, of Calvary Baptist, Louisiana, which is the 10th ranked team in Louisiana. Cornerbacks reps 42 team rating versus a 9 strength of schedule, which is a pretty huge disparity. And as Alfred said, he's uncommitted, but he will be committing the day after this current recording on the 29th of May. His final five is Texas, Alabama, LSU, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M, and he is reportedly leaning Texas from what we have heard. So I think he is a pretty well-rounded player overall. Uh, his skill set is definitely projectable. I think he has pretty good vision, just generally good instincts for the position. He can win playing between the tackles. He's pretty solid contact balance. He can make a few solid cuts here and there, but he's not really a guy that's going to shake a lot of people. I mean, he does, but I don't see it being a big part of his game at the next level. He's shown to be a pretty solid receiver. I believe he had 20 catches last season.
Yeah.
Uh, and he's been pretty good route runner camps as well. So, he can definitely 3 down back at least. Production wise, 192 carries, 1,600 yards, 8.3 yards per carry, 21 touchdowns last season. Again, playing against competition that's well under his teams, as it seems, which kind of hurts the how the production looks, but it's still good production, so you can't really knock it too much. So one of my bigger gripes here is that in terms of just athleticism at the position, he's definitely lacking in it. He's not a very bursty player. The long speed is not really there. I mean, he has a 24-second 200-meter, which is, we don't have the percentile on hand, but pretty low. Reported 4.67 40, which would be fine for this stage. I'm not even sure if I believe that either. So he's not this juicy, high ceiling running back prospect that we typically like to go for. That doesn't mean he can't be a very good college back and maybe end up getting drafted one day. The issue is going to such premier programs, the top 5 that he had listed. It's hard for me to project him being the starter there, even within 3 years. Because this is the type of guy that I feel like they will recruit over him, given his skill set, and I have a hard time believing he will maintain a starting RB1 role at any of those schools. So I'm hoping for a transfer or a flip, before all things are said and done.
Okay, I'll go last. David, any reason to be a little more excited?
No, not really. I think no. If he transfers down, for sure. We're going to say that about a lot of these guys. I think that's like my one popular caveat. But yeah, he just profiles more as like a committee guy at a top school. I think if he goes to Texas, he just seems more of a committee guy. I will say, like, what he has on his side is, he's a son of a coach, which is always just like, it seems to be a big thing where, he probably has a pretty good high IQ when it comes to playing the game. He'll probably be good at the small things, running the plays correctly and, pass protection. And he seems to catch the ball with his hands, which is good in camps and stuff, and pretty technically sound, but he's just, yeah, I think he's sort of athletically limited. He's only 26th percentile athlete in the database. So, he just doesn't have a lot of speed, doesn't have a lot of burst. I don't know. I think I don't completely dislike him or anything. Like I understand, I kind of understand like why he's ranked where he's ranked, but I just think he's got to have to go to a lower level, I think, to become fantasy relevant. So, but I don't blame him for going to a bigger school, and maybe he has a better chance of developing there, and maybe that gives him a better chance of, getting to the NFL and making a NFL roster or something. But yeah, for fantasy, I'm just not really seeing it.
Yeah, it's hard for us to get behind, I think, an unathletic guy by our metrics, especially at the running back position. We've basically found out that big and fast. It's not that difficult sometimes, and he's roughly around 200 pounds, but it's not like if his athleticism was like at 230, maybe we could think about it differently. I think it's going to be a little tough. But like we said, at running back, it's all about volume. And that's why I think we keep saying for this guy, especially, like, he does some little things and he's a good runner. He actually shows a lot of toughness. I think contact balance is there. That wasn't necessarily mentioned, but that seems to be there with him. He's going to need like 30 carries a game, though. He's not going to catch a ton of passes probably. And, he's not a home run hitter. It's just a hard profile to get behind, barring huge volume. And it's hard for us to predict huge volume because that's a depth chart issue oftentimes. So, I agree. Like, maybe he'll wind up at Louisiana Tech like his brother and his dad and, be like a 2,000-yard rusher down there or something like that on 500 carries or something. But I think at a major Power 4 school, he's a committee guy, and unless he shows some extra special receiving ability, which there was some evidence of hands on tape, but his team throws a ton. I mean, his quarterback threw for almost 4,000 yards last year. So the fact that he got, I think, 20 and 214 is nice in a vacuum, but relative to how much the team threw, I think it was really just table scraps because that team threw a ton. So that's James Simon. Hey, if you think James Simon is great and Texas is going to be really glad to have him, comment and down below and tell us what you think about James Simon if you don't agree with this take. But I think the three of us are fairly lukewarm on him.